On this episode of What's in the Box, we are going to talk about the new Michael Myers movie, Halloween Kills. So stay tuned, we're going to talk about that and some other stuff.
Now available on Tubi TV. Bigfoot the Legend is Real. The ultimate Bigfoot documentary is now playing on Tubi TV and features some awesome witness interviews as well as some amazing Bigfoot evidence. That's Bigfoot the Legend is Real. Look for it on Tubi TV. Now playing with no paying. Watch for free on Tubi TV. Also available on Amazon, the Roku channel and Plex TV.
All right, and welcome back. Well, let's talk about Halloween Kills. For those who may not know, that is the new entry into the Michael Myers Halloween series of horror slasher films. And of course, with this being October, perfect time to release such a film. Excuse me. This particular film, Halloween Kills, is directed by David Gordon Green. When this was first announced, I guess it's close to almost 2 years ago now, maybe a year ago or so. There was a promise of, a lot of suspense, kills, and drama, and great storyline, and all that kind of stuff. Well, thanks to Peacock TV, we were able to watch Halloween Kills at home. I know some people who had went to the theater and watched it, but if you have Peacock's TV streaming, I think the premium is like $4.99 a month, and you could have watched it for free. I mean, well, I guess you call it free. I mean, you get a lot of other stuff, but $4.99 a month, and you could have watched it on Peacock TV. It's still on there right now. It's actually an exclusive premiere between there and at the actual theater. With today's world, with COVID and things of that nature, a lot of people don't want to go to the theater and sit in a crowded theater and be in close proximity with others. So having the option to watch it at home in the privacy of your own living room, it was a good choice for us. I rarely go to the theaters anyways. It takes a big title to get me to go to the theaters. Now, this title, Halloween Kills, would have probably been a title that would have made me go to the theater and watch the film. But since I could get it at home, of course, I just watched it at home. A lot of the old familiar characters, of course, are in here. Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, is in the show, in the movie. But as we watched this, I had a lot of high hopes for it. And for me, at least, I think it was mostly middle of the road. The kill scenes were pretty good. There were some interesting kills and such in it. But the story kind of fails for me because it skips around and jumps too much. It's really gets, if you haven't watched all the films and really know them real well, even if you do, the way it skips around the timeline, you're going to be confused probably. There's not a whole lot of story there, to be honest with you. They're trying to fill in several sub-stories, going all the way back to the 1978. At one segment, you go back to 1978, and then it's present day to the movie that's going on now, and then it skips back to 1980, and then back to present day, then back to 78. I mean, it just skips around a whole lot, and then there's not much of a story there. Jamie Lee Curtis really doesn't play a whole big lot into the film. I thought some of the sub stories that they were trying to tie all together some of them were rather interesting, but uh, it would have been better if it would have been a little more focused. At least from my side, it's from my view, it was a little bit just too jumped around too much, and it really was confusing. But now some of the kills are pretty good. Uh, there wasn't much, with the other Michael Myers movies. There was a buildup of tension and fright, and there's some scare scenes and really things that kind of put you on the edge of your seat. And there's not really any in this. Or if there is, it's very few. It's not. The other films were done much better as far as building tension and suspense and that scare moment. And it's just not in this film now. There is some gore and some interesting kills, some inventive ways, I guess, of killing. But you don't ever really get to know some of the characters that are killed. You get to know two in particular fairly well that get killed. But there's a few people that kind of random, I guess, which I understand. But for a horror movie to be successful, it has to be more than just about body count or the gore factor of killing someone. There got to be a story there that kind of ties it all together, and I think this film kind of fails at that. It's all over the place. We waited a long time, and of course it's good to have a new addition into the Halloween series, but I feel like the movie is middle of the road at best. I think it will be met with a lot of really bad reviews. And of course, a few people are going, so there's going to be some people who love it, but I think overall the reviews will be poor for this film, just because it fails on so many fronts. But it is good to have another film in the series, and to see that Michael Myers continues on. Now, one scene that I thought was really well done, and I'm trying not to give any real spoilers away, but if you remember when they trapped Michael Myers in the burning house, and just let it burn. Well, it goes back and shows a little bit more about that and how he got out and stuff. And I found that pretty interesting. But overall, the movie kind of fails because it jumps around so much, and there's not really any new. I hate to say it that way, because there are some new, interesting tie-ins from other characters from old to the new, to the newer films. But the storyline's just not very solid there. It kind of reminds you sometimes, just like the Star Wars films. For me, the very first Star Wars film was Star Wars, which was really episode 3 or 4 or whatever actually in the series. Was better because I got to know the characters better, and it had a better storyline than some of the later films, which I like most of those as well. But for the Halloween film, there's just not enough in Halloween Kills that really makes the story move along and makes you interested in what's going to happen. I think the film will be met with a lot of bad reviews, and I'm not trying to keep anybody from watching it. Of course, for Halloween, for October month, it's a pretty good watch, especially if you can get it on Peacock and watch it for really what is the equivalent of $4.99 for a month's worth of service, instead of going to the theater and paying a much higher price, not counting if you get popcorn or whatever. But overall, I thought the film was okay at best, but it just jumps around too much to be very really enjoyable. But for right now, let's take a little break, and then we'll get back and we'll talk about some other films for October.
Have you tried the #1 rated energy drink yet? RAZE energy drinks feature 0 sugars, 0 calories, 0 carbohydrates, and are full of hydrating energy with no crash. RAZE Energy has become the most popular and best-rated energy drink on the market to date, with a long list of phenomenal flavors. Use code RAZE for to get 15% off your order. That code again is RZ4U. That's RAZE Energy Drinks. Visit the website at repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com.
All right, and we are now back. Just a little bit more on Halloween Kills. At times, the dialogue in the film is really it's really flat. There's not a whole lot to what's being said. I think it was mostly used for filler. But give the film a watch, especially if you can get it on the streaming service, the Peacock streaming service. You can do the $4.99 for a month and cancel if you want to. And I'm not affiliated with Peacock streaming service at all. But for $4.99, it's worth a try to watch the Halloween Kills, or go to theater and watch it and see what you think about it. Maybe you'll like it better than I did. On a scale of let's say 1 to 5, I would give it a 2.5, 3 maybe. But I don't want to leave you discouraged on that, on not watching the film, or needing a good Halloween type scary movie for to watch during October. One thing I want to talk about briefly is I did discover, and I didn't know this to just maybe a day or two ago, there's actually a new series on Sci-Fi Channel on Chucky, on Child's Play. I've not had a chance to watch it, but that's one that's on my list. I want to check out. The first episode, I think, just actually came out 4 or 5 days ago, so I want to check that out and see how that is. But there's another film that I watched a little while back that I want to talk to you about briefly. I don't want this to run too long because it's more or less just a review. Was a film called Butchers, and I watched it on Amazon Prime, and it is directed by Adrian Langley, who I'm not familiar with. And the basic story is these butchers, these sadistic family, really I think it's just a couple brothers, two or three brothers. They live in the back country, and if you cross their path, basically they do you in. We watched this film, and we both, and me and my wife and family stuff, we all enjoyed it. It's the acting on it ranges from okay to fantastic. Parts of the acting is just over the top. It's great, and then some of it's just it's okay, but it's actually a pretty good little film. I would give it probably a 4 out of 5 star. A little bit different. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just a little bit, kind of, with the setting and how the guys are. But it's a pretty good little film. It's called Butchers. You can find it on Amazon and probably a lot of other places. But that was a film that I kind of liked pretty good. So there's you 3 things you can watch for October. Butchers, which I like pretty well. Halloween Kills, which was okay. And I'm going to try the Chucky episodes, the Chucky series, Child's Play series. So that's 2 or 3 things there we can watch for October. But I'm going to go ahead and wind this episode up. But I just want to talk a little bit about Halloween Kills. I know it's really popular right now, and it's people want to know about it and wanting to watch it. So you can watch it on Peacock streaming, or you can go to theater. I found it kind of middle of the road, I guess. Maybe I was expecting too much, but you give it a watch and see what you think. And if you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Come back and get on Amazon or find this film called Butchers and give it a shot. But you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you next time.